A very warm good morning to all of you. Dear students, once again I would like to welcome all of you to a new session of the history class. Today we are going to begin a new chapter, that is chapter number 11, the Second World War, part 1. In the last few number of classes we were discussing about the First World War, and there we have seen why we call it as the First World War. The different technology used, the impact, the destructions, all those things were very different from all other wars which had taken place in the world. And it was for the first time civilians got involved in the war. So there were a number of features which can be considered as the key features of the First World War, and we have seen what were the different impacts, what were the different consequences of the First World War. And today we are going to discuss about the Second World War. So without wasting time, let's move to the class. First of all, we are going to discuss some factors which is connecting between the First World War and the Second World War. First World War came to an end with the Treaty of Versailles. We have already studied in the previous class. The victorious countries, America, Russia and Britain, those countries were the most powerful countries during the First World War, and they were the countries who got involved in the First World War. So they have made this Treaty of Versailles with the defeated countries. So First World War came to an end with the signing of the Treaty of Versailles, but it was a harsh peace treaty. So even though it was a peace treaty, it was not fully accepted by all the different countries who were involved in the war. But rather than a very smooth peace treaty, it was something different. It was very harsh in nature. It led to the beginning of the Second World War. So when we deal with the Second World War, we have to know certain points which led to the beginning of the Second World War. And one of the main reasons behind the beginning of the Second World War was due to the peace treaty, that is Treaty of Versailles. Its damage and impacts surpassed all other wars. As we know what had happened in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So its damage and impact surpassed, overcome, or it became the worst war in the world because of its damage and impacts. It brought the world to the brink of complete destruction. All the countries who were involved in the war, they came to know that if there is another war, it will be the end of the world. So such a huge impact, such a huge destruction had taken place in the world during the Second World War. So let's see some of the key reasons, some of the main reasons or the causes which led to the emergence of the Second World War. These are the different causes behind the emergence of the Second World War. First one, dissatisfaction with the Treaty of Versailles, rise of fascism and Nazism, that one, Japanese invasion of China, and fourth one, failure of League of Nations, and finally immediate cause. So these were the 5 different causes which led to the beginning of the First World War. Today we are going to focus on the first cause behind the Second World War, that is dissatisfaction with the Treaty of Versailles. As we have already seen, Treaty of Versailles became the last event which had brought the world into a peaceful atmosphere, or it was the last step of the First World War. So with the Treaty of Versailles, World War came to an end. First World War came to an end. But it was not the end of the different events which took place in the world. it created more problems. Because of the different policies, different terms and conditions of the Treaty of Versailles, it created a number of problems in the world. Because a number of countries faced a lot of problems, or a number of countries were not happy with the terms and conditions of the Treaty of Versailles. Annexation of states from Germany. Germany was fully disturbed by the decision taken by America, Britain and Russia, because the conditions were very clearly against Germany. So it also led to the beginning of a new atmosphere in Germany, and it paved the beginning of fascism and Nazism in different parts of the country like Italy and Germany. So Treaty of Versailles were not at all a happy, or it was not a happy treaty just signed between the different nations. Creation of many states. So annexation of states from Germany means that Germany was having number of colonies. All those colonies were separated from Germany, and it led to the creation of a number of states. So Germany felt like it's an insult to her, and it led to a new awakening in the country, a very strong desire or a very strong love towards the nation, and it led to the beginning of the Second World War. Again, when we discuss about the Treaty of Versailles, it was fully based on revenge. Revenge means the revenge of the victorious countries like America, Russia and Britain, and under their leadership number of countries were there. So they have used, or they have shown their revenge through the Treaty of Versailles. Especially Germany was forced to sign it, and they accused or they blamed Germany behind the emergence of the First World War. And when we were discussing about the First World War, we have seen the first attempt was made between Serbia and Austria, and Germany declared their support to Austria. So that's why the entire world, or the victorious countries, they have blamed Germany for the beginning of this First World War. So Germany was forced to sign this treaty. That way, I have already told you, it was not a happy peace treaty. Rather, it can be considered as a harsh peace treaty. Her colonies were taken away. In order to solve the financial problems of the world, the colonies of Germany had taken away, and those countries or those states were declared as independent. And again, Germany was divided into two for Poland. The countries caused a lot of destruction, and they have demanded for the compensation, and in order to meet their needs, Germany was divided into two and given to different countries, and her colonies were taken away and has declared as independent. This particular situation led to the seeds of, or the paved the seeds of bitterness and revenge, because the people of German, they were having a very self-esteem about their culture and their heritage, and they felt humiliated because of the different activities, especially because of the Treaty of Versailles. That's why we can say that it poured the seeds of bitterness and revenge. Now, the condition of Germany, the feeling of Germany. Germany forced to give huge amount of money as a compensation to other countries because of their involvement in the First World War. And Germany forced to reduce military power. Army can maintain 1 lakh soldiers, and Navy was limited to 15,000 men and 14 ships, and Air Force was fully dissolved or banned. So such a strict action has taken by the victorious countries by implementing Treaty of Versailles. So finally Germany became fully weak, and it also was a great or serious matter for the people of Germany. They felt like humiliated, and this particular feeling led to emerge a spirit of revenge to fight to those countries who humiliated their reputation. So these were the different reasons which are coming under dissatisfaction against the Treaty of Versailles, and it resulted in the beginning of the Second World War. So dear students, I hope you have got some idea about the first cause behind the emergence of the Second World War. So with this, we are winding up today's class here, and we will come up with the next cause behind the emergence of the Second World War in the upcoming class. Till then, I would like to sign off. Thank you.